Hello, my name is Darren Thomas and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. We are now in Unit 2, Lesson 3, and we're going to do our model development for our numeric prediction decision tree, or whatever you would like to call it. So let's move over to RStudio. So I'm inside RStudio, and the code here is not that complicated. You can see it in the upper left hand corner. I'm just going to zoom in to help you out a little bit here. So all we're doing is basically, look, we're making a model called, first of all, we're setting our seed, setting it to 10. You can set it to whatever number you want. You just want to be consistent between from going from your model development and testing set and all that. So setting the seed to 10. Now the one thing I forgot to mention is the packages were all loaded in the previous video. So if you've left RStudio, you'll have to install these packages again, or load these packages, So going back here, I'm creating a model called psid_model, and I'm using a function called rpart from the rpart package library, if you will. And I want to predict how many kids someone's going to have based on their age, education, hours they work, earnings, and their marital status. And the data set I'm using is psid_train. That's what I'm doing here. So I go ahead and run that, and you can see it's done. Now we're going to make the visualization here in line 6 using the fancy rpart plot our function. So let me zoom out so you can appreciate this. So if I press Control Enter, I get this nice graph over here. And so we're going to focus on this for a few minutes and see what we can learn here. Okay, so here's our graph, our decision tree, if you will, based on numeric prediction. Now, here's the thing. At the top, it has the parent node, obviously. Then you have the child nodes and parent nodes, etc. So here's what's happening. At the top, you have the average number of children that the people have in the data set. So right now it's 2.1, and that's all 3,642 people. Now the first split is based on earnings. So basically, if someone's making 21,000 or more, you go to the left. That means yes. If they're making 21,000 or less, you go to the right, as you can see. So following that thought, if we go here to the left and we go down, we can see here that now we have a separation based on married or not. Married, or if marital status equals never married, or NA/DF. So if yes, they're never married, you go down here, they have 0.74 kids. And you can see that the sample size for that is 135 people, and it represents 4% of the overall sample size. If married does not equal never married, so in other words, they are married, they have 1.7 kids. And again, this makes sense. Married people tend to have more kids than unmarried people, so very reasonable. So here we have over 1,000 people, about 28% of the total sample. So again, moving over here, you can kind of follow the same logic. So if they make less than $21,000 a year per se, you can see over here that they have on average 2.3 kids. And it's very common for people who make less money to have more children. Again, we don't want to get into the details of the social demographics behind that, but that's very, very common. And so here we have, 2,500 people have about 2.3 kids. And then we separate by marriage, just like over here. And so if they've never been married, they have 1.7 kids. If they've been married, they have 2.4 kids, and et cetera, et cetera. And so down all the way to the bottom, you have what you would expect the average number, the mean of how many kids these people will have depending on various factors. Now, notice that, again, just like when we did the classification video, not all the variables were used to make the model. There's nothing here on age. If you remember that, age was one of the variables we put in there. Also, I don't see hours as well, another thing that's not there. So in this particular model, two things matter, really, two variables matter when it comes to how many children someone's going to have. Their marital status and their education level, because education is right here, and also their earnings. Those are the three main factors. And so this is how you train your model. It's not that complicated. And with this nice, beautiful visual here, you can take it to someone who is not familiar with statistics and explain a lot of things about your sample, your training set, your test set, whoever you got your data from, for your audience. So in the next video, we will do the run the data on the test set to see how well our predictions are with our test set.